Yeah, pay attention. Yeah, pay attention. I don't walk it loud. I let the room settle first, cause the ones who talk the most usually rehearse. You came with a speech, I came with the sauce. So when the noise dies down, the facts run their course. You felt every word, I just stated the case. That's the difference between us, emotion and bass. See, I never raise my voice to make a point land. I just lay it out slow till you understand. Every tick I drop, I can show you the proof so you can stay mad. But you can't dodge the truth, they call it a debate. But it plays like a glass where the loud ones fade and the real ones last. Lock mood on the beat and the message is clear. Truth moves slow, but it always gets here. You brought an opinion, I brought a receipt. So the moment you spoke, you were already beat. I don't argue to win, I just lay out the fact and let you talk yourself into walking it back. By the time that you finish, yeah, pay attention. Yeah, pay attention. I don't walk it loud. I let the room settle first, cause the ones who talk the most usually rehearse. You came with a speech, I came with the sauce. So when the noise dies down, the facts run their course. You felt every word, I just stated the case. That's the difference between us, emotion and bass. See, I never raise my voice to make a point land. I just lay it out slow till you understand. Every tick I drop, I can show you the proof so you can stay mad. But you can't dodge the truth, they call it a debate. But it plays like a glass where the loud ones fade and the real ones last. Lock mood on the beat and the message is clear. Truth moves slow, but it always gets here. You brought an opinion, I brought a receipt. So the moment you spoke, you were already beat. I don't argue to win, I just lay out the fact and let you talk yourself into walking it back.
Yo, how's everybody doing tonight? Back into streaming again after being having few days off. I had to get some stuff right. So I had to work on some stuff in my personal time. But tonight I had a stream that I have been saving up for a few days. Even those stories have been gone from the news cycle for a few days, but it's very important to keep it in the ether and people to notice it because this shit is important. The things that have been outbreaking all throughout America are getting rampant, and this stuff is not for the faint of heart when it comes to your food, your well being, the things that you put on the table for your family. Hi, King Chaos. Thanks for being on the channel. I appreciate it. So, we're gonna hop on and watch some of the videos that will put you on speed of what's going on right now in America. So let's begin. And starting with this video, which will explain what's happening with this the head of infections that has quit his position a few days ago. Let's watch.
So I think it's okay, but the head of infectious diseases in the US just quit out of the middle of nowhere in a hantavirus Ebola diphtheria outbreak. And I mean that quite literally. He was supposed to testify before Congress today, and then just as it was starting, he said he's not testifying and actually he's quitting. Mind you, they just announced the cruise ship where hantavirus first started actually wasn't where it first started, and now they don't know where it first started, so it could be anywhere. Oh, and the former CDC director just predicted Ebola will turn into a, quote, very significant pandemic. And Australia is having the largest diphtheria outbreak in their history, ever. But yeah, I think it's a great time for the director of the world's best infectious disease institute to just quit. I think it's actually fine. Do you want to know why? Because at least
nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
It can only good happen, in the wise words of our Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. So this is the start of it. You got a few outbreaks that's happening all throughout the world. From the CDC, from America, you got Australia, you got Ebola. And it's not just infectious diseases that are spreading. Things are reaching into the food industry. And one of the biggest stories that happened is the worm disease that has been happening. We can watch this report from this young gentleman right here.
Texas has declared a disaster declaration as a second case of flesh-eating screwworm has been confirmed, this time 5.6 miles away from the first. This flesh-eating screwworm could absolutely devastate livestock and send prices soaring. Remember, Doge and Elon Musk led an effort to cut programs meant to essentially find out when the screwworm was coming and to study the screwworm. The screwworm hasn't been in the United States of America since 1966. There are now 2 cases confirmed, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Texas. Greg Abbott has signed a disaster declaration to deploy all state resources to stop the spread of the screwworm. It can kill a lot of livestock pretty quickly, and if it does so, your prices are about to go up because the livestock supply is already pretty low. Very serious stuff happening in Texas right now. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
So it's already spreading in Texas. And Hot Wheels, Greg Abbott, I call him Hot Wheels. This dude has sent out his resources to try to contain it. But it's not going to be contained, baby. This shit is going to spread like hot garbage everywhere. So this was from a few days ago. And now you got another update from this gentleman talking about the spread of this the worm, the screwworm, and the livestock. Let's watch.
Canada is now banning Texas livestock as the screwworm outbreak in the United States is growing pretty quickly. And MAGA farmers are blaming one person, Brooke Rollins, Donald Trump's agriculture secretary. They're saying, don't blame Biden, blame Trump. Over the past several hours, Canada's health agencies have decided to ban temporarily livestock from coming into Canada, essentially Texas beef from coming into Canada for a period of a certain period of time. It comes after we now have 2 cases confirmed of the flesh-eating New World screwworm. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has declared a disaster emergency because this could decimate livestock. And while it could have all been prevented, Doge cut a number of programs meant to monitor the Texas or the New World screwworm. And also, the Trump administration had said it was under control, but it clearly hasn't been. So that's where we're at right now. It's an outbreak that can get very bad very quickly and could rise costs for so many Americans. I'll have more updates for you soon. Follow for more.
So if anybody who's listening here from Texas or any of the adjacent states, if you can tell me what's the prices of beef as we speak right now, because it's spreading through the cattle. And since it's spreading through the cattle, as you saw in this report from this young gentleman, that Canada has already put the stop into importing the Texas beef into their country because they don't want that shit spread where they at and infect their livestock. So thanks to Doge and the retarded dude who's think of himself as a genius, Elon Musk, they gutted so many of these programs that they look at it in paper and say it's just a waste of money when it's in place for a very specific and good reason. And one of those good reasons, the screw worm in the livestock. So now you guys are screwed. Oh shit, what a crack. But yeah, you guys are very, very screwed. And now, what else you got? And it's not just the screwworms and the cattle. You got this type of things that's happening throughout all beef, food, dairy, all those type of things that have been going on that people are just willy-nilly eating and drinking and playing with their livelihoods. You can see right here in this report that this dude, by the suggestion of Robert F. Kennedy, that you should go and drink raw milk right out of the titty. And this is what happened to that person who did by his suggestion.
In the Republican state of Would you look at that? Nearly 60 people in the Republican state of Idaho have contracted bacterial infections after drinking raw milk. If only there was a way that we could remove pathogens and bacteria from milk, and if only the government and the Trump administration would promote that as opposed to drinking raw milk. But that's not possible, right? That's not a thing. I can't believe we live in this time, man. Everything is so stupid. Would you look at that?
Everything is so stupid. By basically, you got a government, supposedly the biggest and the most strongest government in the world right now is being run by podcasters and fanatics. That's where we are right now. No people at the helm who actually have their own credentials. I can say maybe what's her name? The chick who ran uh, the intelligence agency. That was the only one who had credentials serving in the army and all that. But right now, who you got who actually has credentials in running shit? Pete Hickseth? The dude was a TV host. What did he know about defense and the army or whatever? He was just a cosplay army dude. Who else you got? You got RFK, who's probably just one of the wackos who just out there. He got some. He got some credential when it comes to the dewormer uh, drug. People vilified him for it, but it turned out that it has some things that can heal when it comes to the coronavirus. But he carried that hype into everything now that he wants you to eat and drink and everything. Now he wants you to drink raw milk. So this is one another step of the shit that I've been talking about. That America is just being poisoned by their food and water. Now I'm gonna show you what they're selling you in the butcher shops. Watch this.
Guys, look. So I look at this and it says certified Angus beef brand. What is this CHO's tenderloin steak? Well, it's a tenderloin steak, but dude, is that? I mean, it looks like freaking glued meat. It was a steak, but look, it's just solid. I'm not playing around, guys. This is nothing. I've never seen nothing like this. Guys, look. So
By law, they can't call these stuff meat or cheese or whatever. So that's why they had to put these CHOs or whatever in it. They can't call it cheese. They had to call it whatever cheese. Same thing now is happening to meat. They're rolling down the fake meat step by step. The fake 3D printed meat. And you're going to see it in the shelves, hitting the shelves, and you don't know and you won't feel about it until it hits the shelves and you start eating it. And then you contract these illnesses that you haven't had before. They're already rolling it out without people suspecting or feeling a thing. So, in my bigger umbrella of subject about the food and the water and the American terrorism when it comes to this type of subject, I want to give you a bit of history about the history of America using food and water and embargo to put a country down to its knees when it comes to food and putting some sanctions on it until they on their feet because America doesn't like who's running that country and they want to install their own puppets right there. So this is one of them.
The amount of havoc we have wrought on the Middle East in recent years is just stunning. You ever think about the consequences of the Iraq War? What we do in places like Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, you understand we're using this tremendous economic leverage we have to basically starve people, to make them suffer, to inflict great punishment on them so that they'll rise up against their government.
And this is one of the biggest points that people in the media fail to educate anybody on the ground about this subject. America always uses this type of tactic to whatever government they want to put down to its knees. Every country they say, well, if socialism works so well, why haven't it worked anywhere in the world in history? Well, if America doesn't assassinate their leaders, if they don't fund CIA coups in their countries, if they don't embargo them for 60 years like in Cuba, hello? Don't you see the connection? You think they just willy-nilly just fall down to their knees without any reason just because corruption and we have to have free market to actually have a thriving society? Fuck no. Look at any country with hardships in the world and you will find a direct link to this bullshit that America does or any Western power does. Cuba has been suffering for 6 decades because of the bullshit America has been doing to them with an embargo that has been going for 6 fucking decades. And now they ramped it up to the point they don't allow any fuel, any power in them. And now they have their hospitals shutting down, their streets shutting down, everything's shutting down. The power plants, now people are starving right there just because they don't like that to have Cuba having the biggest literacy rates in the world, having the country export the biggest numbers of doctors in the world. America doesn't like that. Hell no. They want a country to be subjugated by the balls to their multi-billion-dollar corporations. So whenever somebody talks to you about why these countries don't work without the capitalism, whatever this bullshit, fuck that. Fuck whatever they talking about. It's because America doesn't let them be themselves. They always have to embargo them, assassinate their leaders, do whatever, any bullshit they need to do just to not let them be free without the grip of the fucking billion-dollar corporations. But anyway, another point of hypocrisy when it comes to the Republicans and the Trump media is this right here. They always talk about their pro-life and whatever, but when it comes to the health of these babies after being born, they have no business in dealing with that. They just care about it when it's in the womb. But when it's born, hell no. They don't care about that. Like, listen to this. Abortions are murder. Okay, we can agree. But then, when they're born, children dying from malnutrition, lack of vaccines, and healthcare is perfectly acceptable as long as we can lower corporate tax rates by 1%. House Republicans have passed a bill slashing 75% of fruit and vegetable benefits for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers. And you tell them about they do it to care about the babies and the embryos and whatever. You just fodder to them. Or they just want to have people in the streets, kids in the streets, so they can kidnap them and feed to the next Epstein Island. That's why they are so adamant to have babies be born. They don't care about the babies after they're born. They don't provide the protections, the support system, whatever. No. They just want them to be born and to be fed into the Epstein cycle of abuse and torture and rape. And you don't believe me? They just found 71 school kids in a fucking tunnel. Watch this.
What do you mean you found 71 Jewish students in an underground tunnel? Hello? That sound iniquitous. Fuck is going on? Talking about, oh yeah, they were on a hike and then somehow ended up in an underground tunnel. And then somebody saw the kids move a groove outside and called the cops. Wait, what the fuck are they doing? What are 71 students all together doing in a tunnel? Oh, hike takes dangerous turn. What the fuck? You don't end up down there on a hike. That's not possible. You can't spawn in underground. It's one of these stories like, I feel like, let's say it was 71 Muslim students found underground. They would look at that shit as like a fucking terrorist attack. Or at least national news. But nobody talk about anything. I have to find this out on Twitter. What's I mean? 71 students on a hike end up underground. And then we know there's been these dudes that's treating themselves like the fucking Ninja Turtles that's going underground all the time. But now the 71 students, that's a random ad that I have questions.
Some young girls, some kids, they were in the park, they got into the culvert of the creek, and they started exploring, and then they ended up not really knowing where they were, and they got a little lost.
Let me stop you right there, because this explanation is one of the biggest bullshit that you can give me, and you think I can believe it. What the fuck you talking about that some girls and some students just wandered by hiking into a tunnels and they got stuck there? You can say that about 4 or 5 children or students, but not a group of 70 fucking 1 students. What the fuck you mean they just found themselves there? What kind of explanation is that? But that's what they want you to believe and think that you're dumb enough to take that at face value. Do you actually believe this bullshit? But anyway, they got 71 students found in a fucking tunnel. Let's continue.
Armed, as far as I know from the police, I just got here a few minutes ago. As far as I know from the police, everybody's been accounted for. Nobody's missing. They're about to get them all on their buses, take them back home.
Some questions from a logical person with a brain, 2 eyes, and ears. Where the fuck were the teachers at? What about the bus drivers? And 71 kids all together. Everybody ended up in the sewer tunnel and nobody knew how to get the fuck out. You had to go find them niggas down there. And then, separate side note. How do they have their own, paramedic and police team in New York? Like, that's their own shit. Pretty sure provided by tax dollars. Who the fuck else gets this type of privilege or, community work service type of thing? Emergency medical services, they're like, oh, equal treatment. Well, initially founded to serve specific. And you think all of a sudden they changed that? They still be serving very specifically. And somehow they're probably doing their own investigation into these 71 kids found in a fucking tunnel. Man, this is fucking Mephistophelian. We don't forget. Well, some people do. I don't forget. I'm a hater, not a liar. I'm just saying, I remember when this was found underground. And nothing happened about this. Y'all was just, we were just trying to extend our land, with our synagogue. No, that's not allowed. You can't do that. You can't just start building and doing underground shit. Ruins the structure, the integrity of the architecture. And the soiled bed. What the fuck is that? You know how long I've had my bed? Years, probably at this point. It's never looked like that. Ever. What do you mean?
So, this is where we're at right now. People believe that this shit is not connected and there's nothing to look at right now. We conveniently forgot the story that happened a year ago with these New York tunnels, and you got these little hat dudes busting out them tunnels like Ninja Turtles. Like, what the fuck is going on? And now they found 71 more students in a fucking tunnel from a Jewish fucking school. Hello? But anyway, you think this is just 1 incident, 2 incidents, 3 incidents? No, this is worldwide. Because this shit of behavior is all across the fucking world. Because they found 6 children rescued in Ecuador from the crazy Left Tahor linked organization. And it's, if you want, you can just Google them, Live Tahor, to find what they're all about. They're like the most extreme sect that you can find of people with child sacrifices, child rituals, whatever. I'm not going to touch that because I'll get booted right off the air. So, yeah. What else do I got to show you tonight? I found... what else? There's nothing more left just to remind you who's the one who's in control of the country. So you guys can always have that in your mind, in the back of your mind, whatever you thinking about America and who's in control of shit. So right here, Israel steals your taxes. Just remember that every single day of your lives.
Whenever I bring up the fact that our infrastructure is falling apart and it's Israel's fault, everybody goes, oh, you just want to blame the Jews. All right, sit down and let me show you how it goes. Everybody knows about the federal funding we give Israel, yeah? And the country, America as a whole, gives federal funding. Every state in this country gives funding to Israel. Almost every city in every state gives funding to Israel. San Marcos, tiny little city in Texas, was going through its budget because they had a bunch of potholes. Because San Marcos went through their budget and said, wait a second, why are we giving $4.4 million to, we're a tiny city, to Israel? We have potholes, people can't even drive. So the city, the residents voted, we don't want to give them any money. Guess what old Governor Will Care Abbott said? came rolling through, said if you do that, you are not going to get any funding from the state or any of your federal funding.
So that's the thing that's happening throughout every single city that you're living in. Not just the state, not the federal level. No, you're in your own city. The taxes that you pay for your city to fix your fucking potholes, to fix your water pressure, to fix your electricity and the crumbling electric grid and the bridges. Fuck no. What we need is to send every single penny what you have to Israel. So you don't think this just from the federal government giving them weapons and billions of dollars. Hell no. They're sending your actual tax dollars to Israel. And don't ever forget that, because the truth will set you free. And now you know who's in control. And as my boy said before, and if you don't know, now you know, right here.
And if you don't know, then know. And if you don't know, then know. Nigga!
And I'll play it one more time so everybody in the back can hear it.
And if you don't know, then know. Nigga!
Big facts. And if you don't know, now you know. So that's it for me, man. I appreciate everybody for being here, for joining the stream, commenting, whatever, giving the stream some likes. I appreciate you. I'm glad I did this quick stream right here because I need to get my groove back into the streaming thing. So hopefully in the next few days, I'm going to give another stream after I settle some things around here. So that's me. I'll see you guys in a bit.